Hello, I want to show you a quick little tutorial on how to piece the triangle block that is in this quilt. Just some quick tips and tricks. So let me show you the triangle block, and if you look here, it is this triangle block, and that's the only block you need to piece, and then you piece it in rows and then put the rows together to make the lattice stars that go over the stripes in the background. So let me take you to my sewing machine and we will see how fun it is to make this simple little block. Okay, we're back at the sewing machine, and here is the triangle block. And what we want to do is we want to slice this triangle block where the template in the pattern tells you to slice it. Now we need to put a 1/2 inch, we need to put the point in the middle. You can fold the triangle in half and make a little press mark, or what I like to do is work with about three triangles at a time. And what I have done is I have put a mark on my mat right in the middle. So all I do is lay my triangle down, and this little mark, I can put the point right at that particular place and then center the top. Now, this wants to slide around, so what you want to do is get double-sided tape and put 2 pieces of tape on the back of this paper. This is a nice little trick anytime you're making a paper template. It keeps the pattern from sliding around. So once I place this on here and get it nice and centered, I can move my block around a little better. And now I'm going to cut right on the edge, and if you need to lay a ruler down and cut on the edge, that's fine. Or if you just stay right there on the edge and cut as well. So there is my block that is cut. Now what the next step is I have strips that go in here, and they are inch strips. And right now I'm working just with 2 triangles, but I would usually work with a set of 6 of these, keeping them in the correct order. So what I would do is put a pin in the top triangle, and that always tells me that this is the top triangle. That way you don't get them mixed up. Always the same pieces go with the same block. Now in some cases, the patterns, you might take out this particular piece and put in a different color and make a completely different design. But in this case, with the stars and stripes pattern, this one here stays. It's these colors stay the same. I always sew it onto this triangle first. Now I want you to notice that you can flip these and they look like they're right. So once you place these, be sure you don't twist them all up. Keep them laid down so that you know the order. And I like to sew this to this one. So I'm going to sew that twice, 2 of the triangles. So this is the left side of the triangle. And then I'm going to sew the right side of the triangle, which goes over here. And since I have this pin in here, that tells me that that's the top one. And I do the whole stack that I'm working with. This one, right sides together. And so I always like to sew with the little tabs of fabric. It not only saves thread, but it saves thread jams. Now these two triangles are the same, but this one's the top one. These two are the same, and this one's the top one. So now I'm going to press these, but when I press these, the seam will go towards the yellow fabric. And notice when I press it, they want to kind of turn in here at the end. If you finger press a little bit, then they don't curve around as much. Okay, and we're going to do the other side. And for me, I always like to finish up on the top side when I press. And the reason for that is I can see if this is not pressed completely open. Okay, well, it's pressed one way. And this one goes on top. Then we're going to trim off this extra fabric. So I'm lining this edge of the ruler with the triangle edge and cutting it, these two. And then I'm going to do this one. I'm doing this in a small area here because I don't want to move my camera. It just makes filming so much easier if I can just keep my camera in the same position. Lining up that edge, rotating, lining up the edge. So I'm working still with these two triangle blocks. And now we're ready to sew the center part to these edge triangles. Now, what I like to do is lay them all down and make sure that when I sew this together, it is going to make a triangle, okay? So if I would have flipped these like this, see, it doesn't make a triangle. So that's just something to be aware of. And this one goes on top because it has the pin. Now, when I sew these two right sides together, we will have a 1/4 inch seam line. And with that 1/4 inch seam line, we want to hit this little V where the blue fabric and the yellow fabric connect. That is where our needle is going to go down. So when you sew this together, you want that there 1/4 inch in with the needle right here. So the edge of the presser foot should go right there. When you get down to the other end, it's going to look just a little different. And let me show you after I sew this what you're going to look at when you get to the other end. Since I'm doing two of these, let me start the other one before I cut that one off. So the other end is going to look like this. See how this ice cream cone, when it comes down through here, you have a little bit. Let me hold it this way because that's the way it's going to come out of the machine. Ooh, can't find where I'm at. There we go. So that here is the edge, that tip. And you can see the sewing line there with the navy thread. Okay. And there again, you're going to press this seam towards the yellow again. Let me press that. And now we're going to put this one on the edge. Now, since we've did this, notice this little tip here. You can come along and cut that off with the scissors or with the ruler. And just cut it off like that. Then when you put right sides together and lay the second one in, you have that 1/4 inch line as well, and the end, this end, you're going to have that same 1/4 inch. And so after I pull this out of the machine, I'll show you what that 1/4 inch tip on the other end looks like. And so I've come down and there, notice the little V. It connects where the navy and the yellow. That way, when you open this up, you're going to have a straight line here. And if you did this one correctly with the little V and you hit right where the two fabrics meet, when you open it up, you should have a straight line. So let me press this, and then you can, since this is the top one, it has all these pins in. That kind of helps in the sewing order. And then if you want to trim off your little dog ears, you can trim off the dog ears. And ta-da! There is your nice triangle block. You don't need to trim it down or anything if you have followed all the directions that I just taught you. So have fun piecing blocks.